Okay, let's start. So, Meditations by Marcus Aurelius is the book that we are going to talk about. I'm going to explain a little bit about it. I'm going to talk about a couple of things that I think that is important for you to know and help you out to decide if you're going to buy or not, or spend your time reading it. In the end of the video, you're gonna know if I suggest or not. Okay, so if you want to know more about this book, I invite you to keep watching it. My name is Maiamann, and that's today's video. Okay, first things first. Who is Marcus Aurelius? I don't even know if I'm pronouncing correctly his name. I'm gonna call him just Marcus. Sounds like he's an old friend. He's my neighbor Marcus. Anyway, so Marcus is considered one of the last great Roman emperors. There's a lot of things that make people say that, the people who studied, because it seems like after him, everything collapsed there, right? So I'm not gonna talk about Roman Empire in this video. I'm just gonna talk about him and his book, specifically Meditations. The book takes this name because what's like a journal, it was just like a diary that he was writing during his life. To him, he wasn't writing to someone else. He wasn't writing to convince people to read or to sell it. Okay, so it's not an artist book. It's not a literature book. It's just notes that he was writing to himself read in the future, right? He used to say that he thought that in the future he would get old. Probably he would forget the main things, the important things of life, how to deal with people, how to handle the problems, but not just the huge ones, but the daily life problems, the daily life things that we have to fix and understand how to solve. Then he started to write it, to read it later, maybe when he forget about something, or to keep in touch with his old knowledge that he got during tough times. And I like it a lot, I like it a lot because it's not rare, it's not unusual, like I realize something, I'm dealing with something in my life, and I say, okay, the best thing that I should do now is this, and I go and I do it, and everything get back to the best, right? And I think to myself, like, okay, I have to memorize it, because when it happens again, I have to know what I have to do, because it will happen again. And the time passed, the same thing happened again with me, and I don't do the same because I forgot it. It's not unusual. I wouldn't say that it's often, but it's not unusual. And it seems that Marcus Aurelius thought that this problem could bother him a lot too, just like happened with me, and probably with thousands and thousands of people. Probably you there are watching me. It happens too. But what was his escape from this problem? Note everything. And the time passed, the people collect these notes and publish the book Meditations, okay, because it was his thoughts. I have to do a couple of disclaimers before I start to talk about the book. And I am already talking about the book, but something that I realized that it's important to mention, and before you read it, it's know how to read it, okay? You have to know how to read it, because when he started to talk about his daily life problems, we have to understand that we are not reading, right, a regular man's life. It's a old, Roman emperor, and his problems, things that he had to deal with, was like wars and even, I don't know, slavers. But something that I appreciate when I am reading classics, it's because a lot of people got the ability of convert old knowledge into today's life, like Sun Tzu. Everybody's reading The Art of War, and sometimes when I read it, The Art of War, I think, man, if we could get back in the past, and talk to Sun Tzu and say, hey man, everybody's reading your war skills, your war techniques to build companies, like to sell, I don't know, to sell computer. He would say like, what? Really? No, it's not for that. It's to kill people. My goal is to kill people. Nowadays, the people know how to convert everything into a business thing, and that's pretty nice sometimes. In a specific perspective, this is pretty cool, but it had to happen with meditations, because if we would have like an infographic that shows the books that are classic, but at the same time we can use in our daily life, I'm pretty sure that Meditations would be one of the top 3 books, because it's really old, but he talks about daily things, that we can use today. And for sure, like The Art of War would be in the last 5 books in this infographic, but I'm gonna give a couple of examples. As he teaches himself how to deal with things, he talks things that bothers him. So for example, there's a specific part in the book that he suggests a couple of things that you should do with someone that stink, so how to deal with this person without hurting their feelings, and it's pretty cool when you understand that old, emperor, he used to care about it. Something that he suggests in the book, it's every time that you want to complain something, or when you get bothered by something that comes from someone else, first of all, analyze yourself to see if you are doing the same with the other. What does that mean? If you don't like of someone that is smelling bad, first of all, take a shower, But anyways, talking about Marcus, he was a nephew, I guess. I'm gonna check it out later, but if it's not true, I'm gonna just cut it off of the video. But he was a nephew of Adrian. In Portuguese, we call it Adriano, because I read it in Portuguese. Okay, I'm doing this video in English, so I'm just trying to translate the names and the expressions. But so he got the best education that he could get in the old times, right? So he learned a lot of things since he was a kid, and his uncle realized how great he could be since he was a kid, because he was not the physical guy, when he was a teenager or a kid. He wasn't fighting or running. He was reading, he was studying, he was good at it. So he realized that he could be a good, mind guy, a mind leader. Nowadays we have an expression in the business dialogues, right, that we call he's a farmer, or you are a farmer or you are a hunter. A hunter goes to hunt, goes to do something and bring something home. And the farmer is the guy who thinks about how we'll produce food, how we'll make things, just think to someone do. Both of them, like farmer, just like the hunter, they are important for a society or a company or a family or whatever, or a country. And if I may use this expression, I would say that he was like, his uncle realized that he was a farmer, a guy to think much more than act. So he trained him to become a leader pretty soon. From the beginning, he got, into the Stoicism vibe, if I can put it like that. Okay, I'm not a specialist, I'm just using the regular words that sometimes is expressed. I'm just a reader that enjoyed pretty much the book, but I'm not a specialist. So he started to not just understand, but like and get into dive into Stoicism line of thoughts. It's really important to talk about Stoicism when we talk about Marcus, because he became the last great Stoic leader that is mentioned in the history books, if I may put it like that. And there's a lot of reasons for it. And this book, Meditations, it's one of the biggest reasons, right? Because the core of Stoicism, if we could summarize Stoicism in the daily life of someone, would be the meditations book, right? Everything that you could know and understand about how the Stoicism works in our regular life, it's in meditations book. So you may think, okay, Chuck, but what is Stoicism? What is the fun about it? Where is it from? So I created a video talking about it. I'm gonna put the card here. My cat is messing up here. What do you want? People sometimes say there's a lot of white things on you. Yeah, it's her. To explain more about Stoicism, I made this video. I'm gonna put right here. You can check it out later. And in this video, I'm gonna just talk about Stoicism and explain how it really works. But Stoicism is pretty old, right? Even in the Bible, they talk about the Stoic people, especially when the Apostle Paul, he was going to Athens and all of those Greek places. I don't know if I'm pronouncing correctly these names because I only know these names in Portuguese. I have to read more about it in English. So the Stoicism already was something great in that time, and Marcus, he got adapted to it and understood pretty good and expressed all of his understanding in the meditations book, and this outcome is really good. But I don't want to get too much into this Stoicism in this video, so I'm gonna just try to summarize in a short way here. Stoicism is a couple of thoughts that when you understand and try to apply in your life, things happen, right? If I could put it like that. And one of these thoughts is in understand and like the idea of believe, develop, and have a strong virtue is the best path to happiness and balance. And when we talk about balance inside the Stoicism, we are not talking about just financial, but emotional, psychological, and whatever important aspect of our lives. This virtue, you got this through some actions and perspectives and way of dealing with things. If you want to understand better how Stoicism works, I suggest you to watch this video and keep watching this one here and read the meditations. By the way, I'm gonna put the link down below here in the description for you to access this amazing book and understand way better how the Stoicism works through Marcus' perspective, okay? But getting back about the book. The book was split into 12 sections, if we could say like that. I don't know, like imagine that Bible, just like Bible. Bible, it's a book composed by a lot of books. It's the same thing about meditations. It's one book composed by 12 books. But as they are too short, it's chapters or articles, we could say that, okay? So it's 12 chapters talking about specific things. So one chapter he will talk about social life, for example. Another one he will talk about in power and dealing with war and enslavers, for example. But what is important to understand, and he tries to keep a specific reason in each chapter, but sometimes he can mess it up and talks about random things. But in a short speech, it is split in 12 chapters pretty good. So yeah, if you're going to read this book, just like I said before, I suggest you to know how to read it. And talking about how to read books, I made this another video that I'm gonna put up here in the card that I'm gonna talk about in this video, how to read classics and how to read books, because I see it's quite often actually people that don't know how to read. And I'm not talking about the ABC stuff. I'm talking about like, you don't have to agree with everything that you read. And if I'm saying this for you and you say, okay, Charlie, this is not new for me. Okay, I appreciate that. But there are thousands of people that think that they believe in it, but when they start reading something that they disagree, they don't like the author. Like, oh, I don't like this author. I didn't like this book. No, you don't have to like everything that you read. You have to know how to appreciate things. But I talk about more about it in this video that suggests you to watch it too. But everything that I talk in this video, I suggest you to do with meditations or Merry Christmas, or Merry Christianity, because I talk there that you will read, for example, meditations or Merry Christianity, and I don't know, you can find someone that will agree 99% with the book, but I don't even know if it's possible to find someone. I think, I don't know, if you take even C.S. Lewis that wrote Merry Christianity and put himself to read it, I don't know, 10 years later of its publishing, probably he won't agree with 100% of the things. So don't look for a book that you're gonna like off every single page, but look for a book that will help you to think more precisely and deeper, about things. And Meditations, it's the book that's gonna help you to do this. Another thing that it's good to mention about Meditations, because it's an easy book to read. It's not Harry Potter, but it's a book that when you read it, you will get into a flow, even though that he uses often words that we don't use daily, but it's a book that talks about basic things, so in one page he will start talking about something and finish the subject. So it's a great book to put beside your bed to read before sleep. I'm gonna put the link down below here and I invite you to read it, okay? I suggest you to watch these two videos that I mentioned along the video, because I'm pretty sure that you're gonna enjoy just like this one. And comment here, okay? Tell me, what do you think about Meditations if you already read it? If you're planning to buy, what do you expect of it? And if you are reading right now, what did you see on it that you really liked? And yeah, I see you in the next video.